Hello, Internet listeners. Or should I say, I'm going to steal it. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. Welcome to the Caged Men podcast. My name is Cody Bridges, and I am in a prison of my own making. I am on a quest to watch and review every movie that Nicolas Cage has ever acted in. But I am not alone. I am joined today by a new cellmate. Alyssa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is Alyssa, and I am a friend of Cody's, and I volunteered for this.
Yes. You are, in a sense, the Riley Poole to my ill-advised treasure hunt. Where
God,
the treasure,
I love Riley. I do believe that one of my first crushes in the sense of the word.
Yes, on Riley Poole. Justin Batka, I believe. Or
Bartha,
Bartka is his name.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and this is all alluding to something some of you may have already picked up, which is that today we are going to talk about the 2004 action-adventure, highly memeable movie, National Treasure. National Treasure, of course, starring Nicolas Cage, Diane Kruger, Justin Bartha, Sean Bean, Harvey Keitel, and unfortunately featuring Jon Voight as well. A big Jerry Bruckheimer extravaganza. This is, I'm sure, for some people who have been listening, like the big one. They were waiting on this. They're waiting on one of the famous ones. This is sort of a crown in Nick's cap. I think, in this sense.
It's by far my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. 100%.
We are right in that age range too, though. Like we are older millennials, not to give away anything in that regard. So I was a teenager when this came out, and I think that's about what they wanted audience-wise for this movie.
Well, I also think that it really hit home for a important part of like bizarre millennial culture, which was like American Girl dolls, like learning about history and like being able to like learn about the people behind the history, but also like the Dear America series or like anything like that. Like a lot of our books that we were getting like checked out of the library were like historical nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
Or historical fiction, not nonfiction.
This movie would have 1,000% a Lin-Manuel Miranda cameo if it came out in 2015 instead of 2004.
Absolutely.
Where he would rap just a little, probably, about Alexander Hamilton in it.
Or just like a casual wink in Nick's general direction.
Yeah, he would be like he's running past him or something, and he's there to be like, I wonder what he's in a hurry for, because Lynn kind of talks like that. Anyway, we are going to talk about National Treasure. That is, of course, incredibly important. I've got a lot of notes. You let me know that you took a lot of notes too, which is awesome. But
hey, history nerds take a lot of notes.
That's true. This is a science podcast, though. First and foremost,
sorry.
We will get to our history, but this is scientific. We are going to do some surveys, questions here. I'm taking a psychological longitudinal study. So I'm going to ask you to respond to some statements that'll help me track your and my mental states.
Okay.
Mostly mine, because I'm the only steady subject in this. So I just ask that you answer these honestly. We're using a scale from 1 to 7. So 1 being I completely disagree with this statement, 7 being I completely agree with this statement, and then the shades of gray in between, with 4 being the perfectly neutral stance should you need it.
Gotcha.
No pressure. Just answer as
Cody,
honestly as you
there's
can.
always pressure.
I truly am a hypocrite for saying that, because if somebody presented me with the same thing and said, you don't have to worry about it, I'd be like, you are way too late. But this is all for fun. We're all friends here. So, statement one: Nicolas Cage is an actor I like.
3.
3. Okay. Very good. Statement two: Nicolas Cage makes mostly good movies.
3.
3. And finally, in light of this film, I want to watch more Nicolas Cage movies.
6.
6. Excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
I I think I am hard pressed to disagree with you in regards to your last answer.
I
National Treasure is a crowd pleaser. It's not. We are on the downswing this week, which is worth
yes.
saying. This is a movie rated below our median Cage movie, and for a movie that sits where it is, looking back on Drive Angry and uh even the like closer to the median ones like Astro Boy and of course Family Man, this is shockingly low.
See, and when you told me that, I was like, okay, National Treasure is on the upswing and National Treasure 2 is on the downswing. Like, I was very surprised that this was not above the median.
I was too. When I first made the list, um, as a refresher for folks who are lost in the jargon, we started at our middle Cage movie. I am alternating between slightly better and slightly worse, according to Rotten Tomatoes, anyway. And this is probably the first indication of there being like a failure in that system in terms of my own taste, because I would not call this movie below the median.
I mean, you would say, Cody, that you enjoyed yourself,
I
correct?
did. I treasured this movie nationally, I could say.
Oh.
I
And
I
is it just because that you feel like you have positive memories of it, or do you feel like very much this watching of it you enjoyed?
I think it's impossible to disentangle myself from the experience of seeing it. I liked it when I saw it. I'm sure I saw this movie in the theater. This is the sort of thing that is that combination of my dad would have wanted to see it, as well as I would have wanted to see it, as well as my mom would have wanted to see it, which at that point is like, we're gonna go see the movie. There's no, it may as well have been, Star Wars at that stage. That's enough check boxes that we're gonna make it out to the actual theater. So I think I had a lot of fond memories. Had I been watching this in a theater, I imagine that the room would have aroused into clapping and applause and cheering when he says he's going to steal the Declaration of Independence, obviously. But like it's a solid flick. It's a little there's some flabby parts, but it amazed me that this is like below 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, because that means that there are like a large number of critics who couldn't even give this a 3. And that's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, that's wild to me. Also, quick shout out to your parents. They're both lovely people.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I am very excited. Probably my first mention of my parents on the podcast. I don't know if you guys listen. You probably don't have the time. These episodes are really long, but shout out to them as well. Um, I want to begin, as I have said about all of these so far, uh, were rentals from the Chicago Public Library, um, which gives me the intense joy of viewing them all on physical media and all the quirks that comes with. So I did get a trailer for Herbie Fully Loaded before this,
Oh
which
no.
uh, a very bizarre, like current like Disney DVDs sort of did this before where it's like they wouldn't show you like the trailer they made to put in a movie theater before a DVD. It would be like a currently in production. So you just get some like stock music and shots from like not just the movie, but from like production and people behind the scenes. It was very unusual. There was also a trailer before this for the Vin Diesel flick, The Pacifier,
Okay,
which
that one I can believe. To me, Herbie Fully Loaded was Disney deciding whether or not they still like Lindsay Lohan.
it was kind of her last shot. Yeah,
Yeah.
in Disney
And,
terms.
and then but The Pacifier was like the beginning of Dwayne Johnson.
Vin Diesel,
Was it? Oh, you know,
Fast and
you're
Furious.
absolutely right.
Yes, it is. Dwayne Johnson's in a similar movie, I think.
Okay.
But this is
This
Vin
this
Diesel is like
isn't a Shazam thing where we think that there's another one that doesn't actually exist.
no. I'm almost positive that The Rock played like a Tooth Fairy or something, and it had a
Like
similarly
a
funny name.
babysitter. Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah,
Tooth Fairy is that's what it is.
that's so Vin Diesel. These movies are cousins, right? It is the
Yeah.
Disney sort of like live action. They did not have a big renaissance the way animation did, but they
No.
had Pirates, and
Yes.
Pirates was like this tent pole of like they could get away with anything because even if a movie didn't do well, the next Pirates movie was coming out and that was going to
Well,
make humongous money.
exactly. They
Um,
made like what, four of them? Five of them?
I believe that I saw the last Pirates, and I think that was Pirates 5 or maybe 6.
But, like helmed by Jerry Bruckheimer, who,
Hmm.
also directed this movie, but which came first?
Produced.
Oh, it produced, not
He
directed?
he produced. Yeah, a director I've never heard of directed this movie. I can look up his name in a moment. But it is a Bruckheimer's brand all over though,
Oh,
to the point where
absolutely.
there's music in this movie that sounds like they just kind of had leftover edits sliced off of the end of Pirates.
Oh,
And
it
it's
was
got
it
that
was like,
same,
hey, everybody's already in the booth. Can you just
yeah,
like
can we
keep
just
going? Can you all vamp for a little bit?
just give us something kind of rousing. We're not adventuring on the high seas, but we just need something a little. The director of this movie is John Turteltaub. Um, he's pretty much known like this. This is a big movie for him. He did Cool Runnings though,
Okay, so
so
that's another Disney joint.
oh, and I will be returning to his field again because he did The Sorcerer's Apprentice,
Ah,
which is um
we had discussed me joining for that one as well. I'm Cody's Disney nerd of a friend. Hello, everybody.
that I will, and I'll need someone who can help me with that one. That I that's on the downswing, and I'm uh not thrilled. So we'll see how that goes. But to wit, Bruckheimer did Pirates the year before this. And the year before this also the Da Vinci Code book came out,
And
which
that is where I feel like it needs to be said that this is so clearly trying to be like American Da Vinci Code.
yes. Now, behind the scenes claims that there was an idea or like script around for this since like the late 90s. I and the first Dan Brown novel about what's his name, Robert Langdon, about the guy from Da Vinci Code is Angels and Demons, which comes out in 2000. I find it hard to believe. I'm sure there's a spec script that's like, what if someone stole the Declaration of Independence? But then somebody read Angels and Demons and was like, no, it should be like this, where he's like professory and he knows a ton of facts and he's not in it for the treasure, he's in it for the mystery. And there's a lot of that sort of feels very like they kind of knew which way the wind was blowing. And as a result, you get the Da Vinci Code years later, the movie adaptation, and I don't think it's as good as this movie. I don't think that's as good of a
I
uh
I agree because National Treasure is more like universal in a way that like you could watch it with your kids and you could
Yeah.
talk about like the founding of America. I don't think
The Da
anybody's
Vinci
watching the Da
Code.
Vinci Code with their children.
No, it is. I mean, it is like we talked a little bit about this before we got started. The Da Vinci Code is hinged like cozy mysteries on a murder. It begins with investigating a murder, and it's like the reason Langdon has to solve the crime is because he's implicated in the murder. And this is similar to that, but it never touches that level of violence. Bad things happen all around lots of people, and there's a lot of risk, but no one gets even minorly hurt. Oh, one person does in
Oh,
in
yeah.
a death in a death deserving of the green screen shot that it that
Yeah.
it uses.
Nobody touched him, but he did die. Meanwhile, there are several instances where you could watch it like, you know, how people like doctors watch like Home Alone and talk about like how bad those injuries actually would be in real
Yeah,
life. There are
yeah.
multiple moments in this movie where you're like, that person should have died. That person should have died. That person dead.
Many near or probable death situations. Beginning right near the beginning, in fact. Like, so we begin with a little framing device here. We get a little boy who is in his attic, who we realize is supposed to be Nicolas Cage as a child, and he's looking for this big book, and it's the book of the mystery of his family and this treasure. And he learns the full story of the treasure from his grandpa, played by eminent film
Woo!
legend Christopher Plummer.
Captain Von Trapp Grandpa.
He drops in for like a minute. Like,
Okay, but real quick, Cody, I have my first fun fact.
I'm glad to hear it. Yeah.
Okay, so you know when he's like walking to go over and like look at stuff and he walks over to a chair and he folds the chair and it turns into a ladder?
Yes. Yeah.
That is a literal invention by Benjamin Franklin.
Uh-huh. Well, I was
So
gonna I was
this is the
full of
first
Easter eggs like that.
first pull of like, hey, I heard you guys like Benjamin Franklin. I've got a movie about Benjamin Franklin.
This family, all these guys got the dumbest names,
Yeah.
sadly. So if I remember correctly, Nick Cage plays Benjamin Franklin Gates, full
True.
name.
Yes.
His dad is Patrick Henry Gates, also named after a founding father.
Yep.
And Christopher Plummer plays Jonathan Adams Gates.
Yep.
So rough times.
Well, I would just, but because Grandpa comes in and starts saying about how his 3 or 4 times great grandfather was accidentally told this thing. And
Mhm.
this family was like, you know what? We're gonna take
Our whole
that
deal.
and we're gonna turn hard into this. It's like they were like, we say no more. This is our new identity.
It is his grandfather's grandfather is what he says, which I did try to think if that math made sense and decided I didn't want to do all that to try and figure it out. Whatever you say, Christopher Plummer. Um,
Hmm.
but he's a stable boy and like a cart driver. Like
Right.
he's riding horses up to the White
The
House is
groom
part of.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a horseman, not a man horse with horse legs, but a horseman who drives the horses. And it's like it's almost as though he finds out there's a treasure and he decides, even if I never find this treasure, it's way more profitable to be a crackpot than it is to drive horses. So I'm just going to do that. That's what I'll do.
Right. But not only that, I'm going to make sure that every person in my family is named after somebody who has to do with the Revolutionary War.
My
Like
whole lineage.
like is are all of the girls like Abigail Adams Gates, Dolly Madison Gates? Like
A lot more unfortunate names on that side of the curtain, unfortunately.
But
Like,
but
you can get away with being like, my name's Ben. What's your middle name? Don't ask me. But if you're like, what's your name? Well, it's Martha. My middle name does explain why it's Martha. I know I'm a kid from the 90s, but my first name is Martha. Um,
yeah.
so he
But
he
I
he
don't think there
gets
are any women in this family, if I'm being honest.
they all do seem there's an implication that for generations the men have either been philanderers who have fathered children and then named them after founding fathers, or have been men who got married and then had kids and then drove their wives away with their insane treasure hunting.
Right. Like even Jon Voight at one point is like, and including your mother, who I was so lucky to have, or for the time I was lucky to have her or whatever. It's like, what's going on in this family? Why are all the women cursed? Because none of them exist and none of them have names and none of them get to be involved in the plot.
We do cycle into sort of a broader Nicolas Cage theme, which is that we don't always get a very feminist perspective in his movies. We had some problems with City of Angels for folks to listen to that one, where there's some agency issues, but it's I will point out we do right
Cody,
after getting
no,
to
I'm
this.
thinking about it now. I don't think this movie passes the Bechdel test
No.
because because the because the other girl who talks to Diane Kruger talks about the
About Nick
like she
Cage.
brings in the gift that comes from the guy, so they talk about the guy, and then the only other woman that she interacts with is at the like deli counter, and they talk about how that man is her ex-husband.
Mhm. And and to wit, I don't think either of those characters have names. They're just deli
No.
counter woman and archives assistant or something. So
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, Diane Kruger is the sole representative with a name of all women in this movie. Um, so
I did make a note that it's also not a very racially diverse cast.
no, not really. Although we do get one good line from Diane Kruger, not to jump ahead too far, that Nick Cage comments on Diane Kruger's accent because she naturally has an accent and didn't change it. She didn't try to force an American accent for this movie. And he says, "Oh, you're," I think he or Riley says, "You're not American." And she goes, "I am American. I just wasn't born here."
Yeah,
Which,
they asked if she was Pennsylvanian Dutch.
mhm, yeah. And she reveals that she's German.
Yes.
And they're like, "Oh," and she very casually hand waves off, "I am an American. I'm an immigrant," is all essentially what she says. And it's
Yep.
like, that means American also. Terrific.
Support that.
I hope that was a screen write-in by Diane Kruger, who was like, "We can write away the accent, no problem. I'll just say this. It's so normal for American people to have accents because of what kind of country we are supposed to be."
A melting
But
pot.
yeah, it's not to dwell on that too long.
And anyway,
You have to
so
look at the
Grandpa tells him the
timestamp.
story.
Grandpa tells him the story. Jon Voight comes in an awful rug, just an atrocious wig to try to make him look younger.
Yes. I would say that Jon Voight looks like seven different ages throughout the course of this whole movie. It's like every
Does
time
he
you see
never
him, he
looks
looks
young?
slightly older or slightly younger.
He's all over the map. Uh, in a movie with some good performances, he's definitely the most like phoning it in of all of them. He just kind of walks around and acts grumpy. Even in this first scene where he's not supposed to be that old, he just is immediately
He's so
defensive.
grumpy.
He's
He
just a
is
grumpy
he is the Debbie Downer of the entirety of the movie. He's
literally until like the 11th hour he is.
he is a wet blanket until he notices something and then he's like, "Okay, I'm back in it."
Yeah. very,
But the
yeah.
level of sarcasm and snark on this man.
So he sort of whisks him away from Grandpa, but obviously Nick Cage takes that story in, and we move over to the future where he is in the Arctic Circle with Sean Bean. Sean Bean is playing Ian. Ian is like his rich, like benefactor in his treasure hunting mode, right? He's like I can't think of
Yes.
an analogy of another movie. I guess he's like his Marcus Brody if Marcus was secretly evil.
Yeah, like anytime there's a billionaire philanthropist who's accidentally like doing something that they shouldn't be doing, it feels like a Batman villain
He's
in a way.
very yeah. It's very like he's very much like
Lex
the
Luthor.
like yeah. He's like there's a reason this expedition should be done for like world history reasons, and Ian wants the money. He wants the money, and that's what's important to him.
Mhm.
He's already got a lot of money. He wants more. I did write in this scene that a sunglasses company must have sponsored this movie because everyone in the Arctic is wearing the same, I think, Oakleys or something.
The same, I wrote that down, but with the coats, they're all wearing the same brand of
Oh
coat.
yeah, but yeah, those like it's got like a map on it. That brand, I
Yeah.
see people in them whenever I go
Uh-huh.
downtown.
Can I
Um,
go onto a personal soapbox for a quick moment, Cody?
yeah, yeah,
As somebody who teaches phonics to children, there is not
yeah.
an actor who gives me more frustration than Sean Bean because his name is spelled Seanbean.
hmm It's confounding. It's three tricks in one.
It, but
You see Sean,
uh-huh.
you say it the way you've been taught every other word with an EA says it, and you have to go, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
He's from a place where Sean is pronounced this way. You say Sean.
Yes, and
And
it's
you go, okay.
Sean.
You
But
move on to
then
his last name.
and it's not like he could have just leaned into it and been Sean Bond. But no, he didn't.
Which really
He
with an
decided to go
accent.
with Sean Bean instead of Sean Bon or Scene
With,
Bean.
with an accent, Bon is it's somewhere between Bon and Bean in Irish. Like it's very yeah. He also is in this movie from the beginning to end. Spoiler alert: no Sean Bean death in this movie. He is
Nope. It's one of the
totally
few where he
amazing.
does not die.
He it's not that kind of movie. He does make it. Um, so they are looking for a boat. The
The
prevailing theory
Charlotte.
that yes, the prevailing theory is that the note that the old founding father from the story, who is Charles Carroll, the last living signer of the Declaration of Independence.
Can I give another fun fact?
Yes.
So I looked it up. Sean Carroll, sorry, I'm still on the Sean Bon Scene Bean thing. I apologize. So Charles Carroll was the delegate from Maryland. And he actually was too late to vote on the ratification of the Declaration of Independence. Like he was running behind.
Oh.
So everybody voted without him. He showed up and they were all signing the Declaration of Independence. And he was like, I guess I'll sign too.
well, I guess
Since
I'll do
everybody's
this.
already
Yeah.
here, I guess I'll do it.
That is fascinating. That is a fact I could not have learned from 1776, which is some of my only American history knowledge. Um, so he's got the note that he gave to Ben Gates, Nicolas Cage's ancestor, about how the secret lies with Charlotte, and Nick Cage and his persistent sidekick in this movie, Riley Poole, who is played by Justin Bartha, um, have developed the theory that this is a boat. It's a ship called the Charlotte, not a person named Charlotte. And so they opt to find this boat. They're in the Arctic. They've got all this tech out. Riley is like a tech guy.
They've
He's
got
like
all this tech out. They've got these giant machines. They've got all of these things to like go and explore the Arctic. When they show up to the location that they have decided that the Charlotte is, Nicolas Cage, and his clearly, very careful about the history of whatever he's dealing with, gets out a freaking ice pick and just starts hammering the ground.
First of all, he finds it with like a beachcomber metal detector.
It's
So
wood.
yeah, I mean I think he finds a bell, which I guess sort of would have been
Yes.
the main metal part on a big ship like that. But then he also starts digging and it just doesn't take him long enough to find it.
No.
he digs about like 2.5 feet down and there is a big like church bell sized bell with the Charlotte on it. And it's like someone would have found this
Someone
before you,
absolutely would have found it.
surely.
Like, do you know how much they look for ships in like frozen locations? Like all of the Shackleton missions and stuff, like they went searching for all of these ships. They don't
Many of them
accidentally
are
find
gone.
anything.
Yeah, a
What?
lot of those boats are still gone. The Shackleton
Yeah,
boats, like they don't come up. Like they get broken by the ice, they sink partially. Like
they sink.
they
Yeah.
find they find and it's one of my longer notes that I wrote. They find what I would consider to be arguably valuable enough to say that they could have just stopped here. It's a
Yeah.
nearly perfectly preserved
Cody,
colonial
the
era
the entire
galleon.
figurehead is still there.
I wrote that there's a perfectly preserved figurehead. There's still details in the face and hair on this like woman that was the figurehead of the Charlotte, this beautiful wooden sculpture. I was like,
It's not possible at
just
all.
bring this is worth a fortune. Are you
Oh
kidding?
yeah.
This is good enough. If I had been, and Nick Cage is obviously looking for the titular national treasure. It's
Right.
about that. He's on that quest. But if
But he
I'd
also
been
just wants
Sean
proof that
Bean,
his family was right and they're not a bunch of crocs.
yeah, he needs to prove he's not crazy. If I were Sean Bean though, I would have been like, this is good. I'll I'll sell this boat to a British museum or something. This is
Right. But
fine.
he gets on the boat and one of his first things is like, I thought you said the treasure would be here. It's like, this is great.
This is the treasure. It's the same thing, and like maybe Indiana Jones just moves at a faster clip, and so I don't really notice it. But sometimes in those movies too, I'm like, you did find like an ancient dungeon and crypt. That's also cool. That's like
Right.
any archaeologist would be like, I don't care what you took from the crypt. I would like to see it, but I do want to see the crypt. That's more important in a lot of ways.
Right.
I don't know.
Because how many ships do we have preserved from like the Revolutionary War era?
I'm prepared to say zero because they were wood. They're wooden boats. Like it would have been insane if we had a lot of them.
Right.
Like I mean, so they go down into the boat. Everyone's a little disappointed because it seems like there's no treasure. Nick Cage, of course, is like, this is kind of what I was expecting. These are all wild goose chases. We go from clue to clue. He finds another thing that I would be like, pack it in. You found an amazing, they buried in a barrel
Next
with
to a
some
dead body.
gunpowder.
That's one of the thing that Riley's like, oh, okay, we're gonna. So what was the captain like protecting or whatever? It's like, no, that's a preserved dead man.
Yeah, Riley's very normal about the number of corpses they see, and everyone else is really cavalier about it. They're just like, whatever, dead's dead. It's too late. They find a big pipe, that is also in like
Perfect
just
condition.
gorgeous condition.
Gorgeous.
It's ivory. It's like a sculpture of like a fortress. Like it's got like
Hmm.
a turret and people on it. And of course, Nicolas Cage is like, it's not just a pipe, it's a clue. and he immediately cuts his hand open with a
Okay,
knife.
he doesn't just cut his hand open, Cody. He slices the like pad of his thumb.
Yeah, like a place you would hate to get a cut. Like a terrible
Exactly.
that I cut my finger last week slicing a bagel, and it has been bothering me for a full week. He has to adventure in later parts of this movie. That would be bugging him the whole time.
Right. Cut your upper bicep. Who cares about
Or or or
that?
don't cut anything. You're surrounded by powder, black powder. Use
And ice, mix it with some water.
do make or I don't know, do you bring a crayon with you? Like
An
to
ink
do a
pad?
rubbing?
You're a historian and you don't carry an ink pad with you?
No, but he had a huge knife.
A huge knife, cuts open his thumb and discovers an additional riddle. And I
Yes.
think 90% of why Nicolas Cage was chosen for this role is because he's really good at mumbling,
Oh yeah.
like a mumbling thinking voice. And this
He
character does a
has
lot of mumble-based thinking.
he does a lot of eyebrow thinking too,
Oh,
where
so
he
much
can be
eyebrow.
just sitting and his eyebrows are doing all the acting work of like he's looking through files in his brain. Like
Yes.
I wrote later that he has an extremely eyebrow heavy performance in this.
It's almost entirely one of the eyebrows with
Left.
like the other eyebrow in like second place, and then Nicolas Cage as a person third.
Yeah.
It's eyebrow one,
He's
eyebrow two, then Nicolas Cage.
so he's going over the clue, trying to figure out what it could mean. He's saying all this and that, and the conclusion he comes to is that he the thing they're looking for next, the next clue, is on the back of the Declaration of Independence. Which of course to him
Yes.
is like, well, it's kind of it's either a non-starter or we have to get permission and they'll probably say no. And Ian is immediately like, well, we could just take it. We can steal the thing.
I have been a part of things of questionable legality
He says like in another life, and all in my
in
head I
another
could picture
life.
was
Yes.
was of course Goldeneye, where in another life he's an evil British spy who wants to take over the world, or in another life he's uh, uh, dying in some terrible way in a film. All I could picture was him thinking wistfully about what his great end will be like. Um, and Nick Cage balks. He's like, I'm not going to steal the Declaration of Independence this
He
time.
says, I'm not going to let you, we cannot do that. Under no circumstances is that going to be the thing that we do. Absolutely not. No, no, 1,000 times no.
Pretty normal, I think. A pretty normal reaction to someone suggesting that's the next step in
I
your
mean, you would
hobbyist
hope.
treasure hunt. So Sean Bean's I did not look at the actor's name and I feel a little bad. Sean Bean's lackey Shaw uh
Shaw.
pulls a gun on him and Nick Cage is like, you
Don't do
won't
this,
get
Shaw.
any he's like, you won't get any further than this without me. Like you're not gonna find the solutions to all these puzzles. And he's like, well then, we're gonna find the map without you and all that. And they get in an argument, and Nick Cage, in response to having a gun pointed at him, lights a flare, and there's gunpowder everywhere because they were trying to find the clue in the gunpowder. And he's like, I'll drop this if you shoot me. I'll drop this, and we all die. And Sean Bean's like, or we could just wait for the flare to go out.
His name was
To which
David Diane Fisher.
Thank you. Huh.
Is Shaw.
That's okay.
He's also
So
been in, well, uh, The Librarian, Dark Knight Rises,
oh,
Burn
he
Notice.
seems like a classic Hollywood heavy. Like he plays a guy in that exact role where a villain can be like, punch that guy, and he goes to do it. That feels like his
He
wheelhouse.
feels like a younger Ed Harris.
Mm, Yeah, yeah, I see that. Um, so Nick Cage decides to gamble. He throws the lit flare in the boat
Uh-huh.
covered with gunpowder, and Sean Bean catches it and kind of chuckles. He's like, haha, your plan didn't work. And then out of nowhere, the
Burst
flare
into
causes
flames.
his
So,
big buffy coat to light on fire, and he's like, ah.
you know
And
how we said earlier, though, that this was clearly sponsored by sunglasses and coat-based people? I don't think the coat people agreed to this
probably
endorsement.
not happy with saying, well, this coat's really flammable.
Yeah, super
I
flammable.
I did write, he's always suffering terrible setbacks, that Sean Bean,
Mhm.
because
Poor
like
Sean
he lit
Bon.
on fire. They have a little chase. Sean Bean and his and Shaw escape. Nick Cage, of course, knows that there's a smuggler's hole, so they escape. He escapes with Riley another way, and then
This is the first instance, though, Cody, that I'm like, these people are dead, 100% dead. This is not a thing that you just casually survive. They are dead.
I'm inclined to agree with you, because what happens is that the beautiful, perfectly preserved colonial era galleon explodes in like a 30-foot tall explosion. Now, I have learned a thing or two about real life explosions out of just interest, but like, if you've seen the movie The Hurt Locker, you know that if you're just close enough to an explosion, the shockwave liquefies all your organs and you die. And that's from like a little like IUD, like IED, like an explosion that's only supposed to have like a
Not an
fire, not an
IUD.
IUD, an IED. That's a totally different conversation. But like a little improvised
We can
explosive
have
device.
that one too.
Yeah.
No,
Hmm.
keep going.
We already talked about politics earlier. We really, and I have a political theory about this movie that I think is interesting for once we wrap up. But uh like, even a little explosion where the actual blast isn't that big, like the actual fireball, like if you're close enough to it, and like Nick Cage and Riley escape by like inches.
Yeah, they're just
And
like,
I
oh, we're just under the explosion, no big deal. And then Nicolas Cage pops up and he's like, there's an Inuit village within 9 miles of here. Let's go. It's like
9 miles in the Arctic.
not 9 miles in the Arctic after surviving a huge blast of an explosion.
Of course,
Absolutely not.
Riley is like, I'll just do whatever you say, I guess.
Sure, sure, sure.
So of course their immediate course of action is what I call the D&D escalation plan. So the way my brain always works in Dungeons and Dragons is, if the first option presented to you is maybe to try to get help from somebody stronger than you should try that in Dungeons and Dragons. Give it at least a shot. Your DM won't like it, which is what happens to them. They immediately go, we're going to just tell that someone's
Right.
going to
They
try
went
to
to the
steal it.
National Guard, they went to the FBI. Like everybody's just like, you
Yeah.
were crazy. Absolutely not.
They think they said the FBI and the National Guard, and I think the Department of Homeland Security
Yes.
all turned them away. And Nick Cage has the light bulb idea of saying that they should go to a nerd, essentially. They need to find someone who has the biggest investment in like keeping the Declaration safe, which is the National Archives, the people that actually house it. And so they, using an assumed name because his is spoiled by his family's craziness, they meet with Diane Kruger. Diane Kruger plays, oh gosh, the like director of the National Archives. The She's definitely very in charge. Um,
Mm-hmm. She has another colonial name too. Her name is Abigail.
she is Abigail Chase. That's right. I think almost everyone in this movie. I think even Sean Bean's last name is Howe, which I think Howe is a colonial era name as well. Poole might be also. The last name Poole, I think, is a
Pool seems
Poole seems correct. Poole seems like he like a colonial figure. Anyway, all this movie's full of stuff like that. You just kind of gotta let it wash over you. So they go see this Dr. Chase. So this turns into a scene where I think both tested my patience, but also I had to rewatch because it made me laugh so much. He sits down and they're trying to convince Abigail, they're trying to convince her that there is like a credible threat to the theft of the Declaration of Independence. And for a person who like that's her whole job, she's kind of like, well, why though? Like, why would someone want to do that? And they Nick Cage spends like maybe 5 minutes trying to talk around the phrase invisible treasure map. He says like it has an encryption on it. And she's like, so something you can't see? And he's like, yeah. And it's a cartograph. And she goes, a map? And he's like,
And there's
yeah.
a cipher.
And he's like, and she and literally the one where I was like, I do need to watch him say that again is like, she's like, what is it a map to? And he goes, items of perceived or real value. She's like, treasure. It's a treasure map. And he's like, yeah.
What a fun
They
time
think-
with a thesaurus the writers had to get to
and
that
what
point.
like and how funny to be like in retrospect, this is right after the moment where they're like, oh, your accent's so interesting. And she's like, yes, it's German. It's a German accent. And they're like, oh, you're not American. And she's like, I am American. Like all that like good, like immigrant friendly, like sort of like very nice sentiment. And then it does kind of read like he's purposefully trying to use tricky English words.
Yeah. But also, if you had a nickel in which movies that Diane Kruger was in charge of preserving historical artifacts for the country that she cares about, you would have two nickels. Because she also did that in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's totally right. She is great in that too. She's stupendous in it.
She's a good actor. Like, she's fun to watch. She's like, you know, I never was like, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So that's, you know,
She's
a good portion of this movie.
she's believable in this movie as an expert. And that's I think hard for a movie where the field that they're talking about has a ton of obsessives. Like she seems like believably as smart and as like knowledgeable as Nick Cage, who's supposed to be this like crazy uber expert on this one specific field of American history. Um, she does get a zinger on him where they finally relent. Yes, they're looking for a treasure map, and she says, "I've seen the back of the Declaration of Independence. There is not a treasure map on it." And he goes, "It's invisible." And she's like trying to get more out of them just to humor them. And he's like, I have proof. I found a pipe in the Charlotte. The Charlotte is a ship that was in the North Atlantic in the Arctic. And I found this pipe that had a puzzle and a riddle on it. And she's like, "Can I see the pipe?" And he goes, "I don't have it." And she asks, "Did Bigfoot take it?"
Did Bigfoot take it?
And I was like, she was waiting for them to say something ridiculous enough just so she could get one more burn and then kick them out.
Yep, perfect.
So that doesn't work. And so they go to the room where the Declaration is. Nicolas Cage says some very inspiring things. He talks about what the Declaration says.
He quotes it, yes.
Yes.
And Riley's like, I don't remember that part.
Riley is so like, it's very, this to me feels like they had to have met in like a non-specific library, like not a historical library, but like he was just studying also there And Nick Cage was like, no one believes me that there's treasure. And Riley was like, well, that sounds more fun than job hunting. So,
Right. I would uh I meet them like being at a library, but I raise you an internet cafe because
yeah.
there is a later reference of them being in an internet cafe, and I just picture Nicolas Cage getting frustrated because there's like I don't know, he can't get the password right, or there's some sort of an
Yeah.
encryption on something, and Riley's just like, "Did you forget your password? It's 1 2 3 4 5 6." And like, and Nicolas Cage being like,
That is,
"Oh, thanks. Do you want to help like
do you,
solve
do you want to help me? Do you want to
like
help me?
historical mysteries?"
You want to find the most important treasure ever. Um,
Hmm.
and then he drops the line. He says it. This is the trailer stinger. This is sort of, if you believe behind the scenes footage, like the backbone upon which the movie is based is why would someone steal the Declaration of Independence? What would a movie about that be about? And sort of like all this spiraling out of it. So they decide the only way to save the Declaration from being stolen is to steal it themselves.
Well, but
Um,
also, so okay, this was something that I also noted. All of these locations that they're going and talking about things in, like the
mhm.
majority of these locations have an admission fee. Like to go into where the Declaration of Independence is, that's an admission fee.
Yeah,
Like they later go and talk at the Lincoln monument. That one doesn't because it's outside. But
yeah.
like several other places, and I'm wondering if anybody's ever calculated how much money it would cost to go to all of the locations that they went to in National Treasure because I am curious.
Maybe because of his like sort of chronic obsessivism, he has
Oh, like a
like a
National
season.
Monuments Pass.
Yeah, he's got like because we have the usually it's just a day like a day pass for Chicago, but you can buy like a day pass where it's like, do you want to do everything in Chicago in one day? And it's like, do you want to do, which is a nightmare. Don't do this. But if you're trying to do the Field Museum and Science and Industry and the aquarium and the Sears Tower in one day, they sell
You will
like a
end up seeing
city.
nothing. Don't do it.
You'll see nothing and you'll fall over dead at the end of the day if you try to do all that. Pick one. But like you can do that if you want to. Maybe he has like a perpetual subscription because he just knows he's going to be wandering around looking at inscriptions and trying to find compass symbols in everything every single day.
Right.
Um it certainly wouldn't be cheap. I guess at the end of the day, the goal is to sort of make money off of the treasure. So there's a little return of investment. Um, so they start trying to figure out how this would work. Riley tells him he's dumb and that he can't steal the Declaration, and sort of runs down what the presumably real or close enough to real security situation is for the Declaration.
And this is where we get into the Ocean's 11 influence.
Oh yeah, this is
Is
a big old Steven Soderbergh uh uh like I'll say homage to be friendly. It is all the voiceover over
like every
describing what
day
he.
they put the Declaration of Independence is in a heat-based censoring case, and if you get too close, even if you have a fever, it's going to set it off. And at night it goes back down 4 stories into this like thing, and all of the images are just the security around the Declaration of Independence with Riley doing the voiceover.
And it's got like that jazzy sort of like
Yeah.
heisty undertone, very very Ocean's 11, like totally like, extremely influenced by that, but also full of history facts because that's the idea. um Nick Cage of course knows because his character is a psychopath that there is a time when it's not as secure. that when they're doing cleaning and maintenance, that it's in like a clean room or like a highly like hermetic room where they can like check on it and do like upkeep. Um, that's a moment where I was like, that seems wrong, right? That room would be just as like a lock,
Right.
probably,
You,
or a few
especially
locks.
because it probably has like sensors for like dust and germs and things like that. Like this isn't just like, a community college museum. This
Yeah,
is, the National Archives, and that's the Declaration of Independence. Like
it's
the
the
thing
only
that
room where it's loose. Like it's the only room where they take it out of the glass, supposedly. It's gonna I feel like it'd be like weight sensors, like Mission Impossible, but
Right, but
um
so another thing is that it wasn't put into the National Archives until like later. For the reason why the Declaration of Independence is so difficult to read today is that for a really like solid amount of time, like 30 years or something, they kept it in a room where it did contact like direct sunlight. And that messed with the
oh
ink and things like that. So, like, for a while, the Declaration of Independence was not properly preserved because they were just taking it around everywhere and showing it off to everybody. Like, the fact that it wasn't stolen or burned or, like, spilled upon is crazy.
we
If you
we
look
really
at the
are.
current, huh?
I was just thinking the idea that they used to bring the Declaration of Independence around a show. We really are just a carnival of a country.
Yeah,
Like
100%. There was also a really poor restoration attempt on the Declaration of Independence where somebody tried to trace over the writing of the Declaration of Independence in the like wrong type of ink, and like that messed it up partially, and also they left like a weird dusty handprint on the bottom like left-hand
no,
corner of it. So if you look at the current Declaration of Independence, you can see like an awkward handprint on it.
it's like that ape-faced Jesus painting restoration.
Yep.
um Yeah, I that is like a moment where it was like that stretches believability, but I guess it's what makes the movie work, so I'm not gonna dwell on it. Um, they start planning their heist based on that. We get more Steven Soderbergh shots of them like, doing like the pre-heist prep. Riley buys one of those now illegal green laser pointers. Um, and the reason he needs it is because it can raise the temperature of the sensor, because it's those kinds of, you can't find these in the US anymore, and you might not be able to find them anywhere legally. The green spectrum or the green wavelength lasers um, can like pop balloons and like burn skin, and like they're very dangerous. Like where like the red laser pointer is like if you point it in your eye, you might hurt your eye. These are like if you point it in your eye, you will go blind, no question. It's bad for you. And it does show him testing it on a thermometer, and he raises it by like fully 100 degrees.
Yeah, he's just sitting there being like, nice.
He's like, this is cool. And it's like, that's terribly dangerous. But he gets their part of the plan set up. Um, they take the declaration down to the cleaning room because of the temperature raised for it to be like in a place where like they can monitor what the deal is with that. Um,
Sorry, Cody. Before this, they had also already like given Abigail some like things
oh
to
yes,
make her part of the heist as well. So Abigail collects the campaign buttons for George Washington, which I guess I never realized he actually campaigned. I thought everybody was like, well, yeah, George. It's going to be George. But apparently he had multiple campaign buttons, and so Nicolas Cage put some sort of like weird
a
uh
solvent.
yeah, on the coin so that when her fingers are on it, he can then trace where her fingers are after the fact with like blacklight and things like that. So like involving her without her consent, which
Mhm.
I know they're stealing things, but still. But it also is just like, I don't know, you can't tell me that like she touched that coin and then didn't touch anything else before she touched that keyboard.
Yeah. And also like in it's a very like it's a very like subtle sort of scene where it's like this is a part of the plan where it's like the sort of setup for why they're able to get in the first place is that there's a gala. So like the security is going to be a little distracted because there's extra people. That's sort of the
And like
premise of
fancy schmancy people.
yes. And so like I don't know if you've ever worked, dear listener, in a nonprofit or government organization right before a big event. There's like an 80% chance that that assistant walks into the office and goes, "Here, this is from that guy." And she goes, "From who? What? I don't have time to look at that. Put it on my desk for later." And then the whole plan fails because she was like, "I have 100,000 things to do because the gala is tonight."
Yes, and that's why this fails the Bechtel test is because they still end up talking about that guy.
Yeah. That strange man sent you something in an engagement room box. Do you want me to call the bomb squad? Should have been the entirety of the conversation.
Yes.
Um,
That man you didn't listen to and you kicked out without hearing out his like weird idea sent you something. Do you feel good about opening up this gift?
yeah. I will also say there's a moment that sort of passes kind of quickly in the montage. And I think maybe more of this guy's scenes must have gotten cut for time or something. Um, where while she's carrying the declaration into the clean room, one of the other like archivists, who's like this tallish man with long hair, who also gets introduced to Nick Cage at the party later, is like with her. And she's like opening the door. And I don't know if you caught this because it's very quick. He like subtly checks out her butt.
So I think he gets brought up too. She when she gets the gift, she goes like, "Please don't tell me it's from so and so."
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
that guy.
So
So
like
she is currently fending off a
he's
man in
trying
her
to avoid.
workplace.
And it's like there's he's not in any significant portion of the rest of the movie. He is
Nope.
mentioned in this scene where it's like this guy that I don't like, and then he creepily like gives her a once over while she's trying to handle the most valuable document in the archive.
But then
And
he
then
comes back in at the gala, and that's the reason he brings her champagne, and that's why Nicolas Cage has to hold the champagne in the really weird
yeah,
way.
with a claw on the
Yeah.
bottom part because he's trying to keep her fingerprints. So so we get to that scene. Nick Cage gets a fake ID in the dumbest way possible.
It's the
They
dumbest way possible. And also, he's like, yeah, that'll work. I was like, the other man's ID picture was like very much like faded out and not good. And yours is like crispy clear.
he takes like a long distance photo of a janitor, and so he gets a picture of like a like lapel ID badge that's like at a downward diagonal angle, and I guess he just photoshops it and puts his face in it and prints it and laminates it. But aside from that, he gets to security. He's got a big old smile on his face. They just sort of wave him in. If a man came to Washington, D.C., and he paid a visit to the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, the National Guard, and the National Archive, told all of them that someone is going to steal the Declaration of Independence, but he doesn't know who. Even if everyone thought he was a crackpot, that guy's picture would be up everywhere.
Cody, no, none of them believed him.
It's this, even if you don't, and like there's a little moment where like the FBI, once all the heist stuff is done, are kind of like, well, he did kind of tell us something would happen, and it's like
We
kind of
didn't think it was a
sheepish.
credible threat. It's like,
Once he's
dude.
on visit, once he's on visit 4, even if he's talking like it's someone else who's gonna do it, you still keep an eye out for that specific guy. Like, um, so he rolls in and he is looking to like he changes out of his janitor outfit. He's got a tuxedo on underneath.
Throws his clothes away in the garbage. Rookie mistake.
Yep.
They immediately could check the garbage and know that you
Oh
changed
yeah.
out.
I mean, he makes a series of mistakes that do indicate that unlike Ian, he is not in another life a criminal. He is a guy who came up with a plan that did ultimately work, but meant that he was going to get arrested really quickly after it worked. Ian, speaking of his plan, where they did all the Soderbergh shots to show like the build up to their heist plan and all their clever little tricks. All that they show while Ian's gang is rolling in is people racking guns and loading guns, and it's like,
Loading guns and just like exploding things and like busting things open.
yeah,
It's
he
like,
has got the hammer approach to Nick Cage's scalpel. Uh, so Nick Cage has this little meeting with Abigail. Um, he can't help himself but quote more U.S. history stuff, and in the process, does like a big tell to
Cody,
to Abigail's face.
it is the most uncomfortable amount of eye contact I think I've ever witnessed two characters have in a movie where he's just like, the thing about great men is that they need to do whatever is right, even if it is treasonous to the country that they have sworn loyalty to. And he's just like, the level of eye contact and how uncomfortable she must have felt in that moment is nuts.
It also is like it's a line read that can only mean I am trying to tell you that I'm about to steal I'm gonna do it. He may as well have told both her and the guy next to her, like, so I'm gonna walk away from this conversation now.
Hey, Paul Brown, why are you here? Just here to steal the Declaration of Independence. What you guys doing here?
Can you hold this drink just long enough and I can then take it away from you before it's empty? Like, it's um of course Riley does ask, is that hot girl, when he walks up to her,
That mean
because
hot girl.
um so they he goes down to do the next part of his plan.
He
He
goes down to do the next part of this plan after getting her fingerprints on this champagne flute. And he goes into a bathroom that has a baby care center, which means he locked himself in a women's restroom.
he Now
Because
we
it's
don't know.
2004.
I was gonna say we don't know for sure because we live in the future compared to this movie.
Okay,
So
but it's
I
2004 and there is
there's
a
no
baby
way.
care station.
There's no way he went into a men's room. He went into a ladies' room so that he would have a baby care station to serve as his little chemistry stand, where he
Yes.
could do. He puts the glass in a baggie. He squirts some solvent and crazy glue, some sort of like MacGyvery sort of
Yeah,
stuff
and
into the
somehow
bag.
it then makes the fingerprint slightly raised so that he can put it on a weird finger condom.
I wrote, there's no way in hell this works, because there's no
Because
like
if he did
every
it like that, then he would have a like mirror image print of the
exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't
And
work.
I was like, this is totally like that thing of like somewhere in the script they were like, and he gets past the fingerprint blocker and we'll figure that out. And it's like the best they could come up with was like, I guess he can do like a little science experiment and it makes the
But they
fingerprints
show
come
they
up.
show the whole like weird like science-y version that he does. And meanwhile, Ian's knocking a guard unconscious and
Yeah.
holding his limp hand to the fingerprint scanner.
One of Ian's thugs tasers somebody, and then they just grab his hand and shove it on the print reader. It's hilarious. I was like, that is actually. I was like, the funny part about this is that the way this should have worked is Ian gets in and he doesn't. There's no way he
Right.
gets this far. Um,
Ian
so
100% got in.
so they get to the next lock, which is there's a keyboard where the like I guess the solvent residue has left like a black light glowing thing on the keys that were used.
Can I tell you though that this solvent stuff actually does exist and you can buy it like regularly where it shows up under blacklight because a parent in my class used it the other day to show children how germs are spread. So
Oh,
they covered a ball in this like solvent stuff, this like blacklight powder, and then they had the kids pass the ball around and like throw it to each other, and then the parents shone the blacklight onto their hands,
oh goodness.
and that showed them how germs spread. Did
That's
the
clever.
children get that out of the lesson?
No,
No, they thought, "Ooh, fun, that's glowy. Can I touch the ball more?" Um,
always the risk with a fun lesson is that you don't get the lesson part out of it.
yeah, but um the fact that Nicolas Cage made it work in a way that like I just don't think that that much of the stuff would be on all 10 of her fingertips.
No.
How
And
is she
also
holding this badge in her
she
hand?
clearly when she picks up the thing to like examine it kind of rubs her thumb over it very conspicuously, and I thought that was going to be like the way the fingerprint thing works, but no, it's for the
Hmm.
keyboard. And like a couple of things. One, you're right, there's no way she got enough of this stuff on both hands and that it
Especially your
lasted.
pinkies. You're telling me
Yeah,
it's going to get on your pinky fingers?
absolutely not. Maybe she's a really bad typist and it only needed to get on, her index and middle fingers on one.
Index
Like
finger.
it's just she just needed to. And let's also talk about password hygiene for the most important room in the National Archive. It's a all lowercase, two words, and also like a pithy reminder, like it's a reference to
Yeah.
American history. The This scene drove me crazy because the way they make this work is that Nicolas Cage sees just the keys that have been pressed are glowing. And so he reads out what the letters are to Riley, and Riley puts it in like an anagram analyzer. The When Riley starts just saying word salad phonemes of what it could be, he does it for like, this is me being so picky, for like 3 seconds too long, where I was like, they need to stop this scene before he says any more.
Right. Especially because you could tell that Nicolas Cage was also figuring it out. So it's like, why are we continuing to do it while Benjamin Gates figures out that
Yeah,
it's Valley
while the
Forge?
genius. Yeah, the password is Valley Forge, no numbers, no
No
symbols.
numbers, no special
Like,
characters, no capitalization.
I have stricter password requirements for the Subway app. Like, that makes me use a special character and a number and a capital letter. Like, it would have been awesome if they shined the thing over it and it was like like half the letters and a couple numbers and the shift key. And Riley was like, well, we have to go home because.
Right. But like, I don't know, it was 2004. I can tell you flat out that my first ever password around that same time was 6 lowercase letters.
I mean, yeah, it was a different time, I guess. Um, but I was like, when Riley just keeps being like Efogor, Ego Roger, and I was like, just like something about that was like, this is droning and driving me crazy. Um,
A gorge vow.
yeah, they they get into the room. Nick Cage starts. I guess because it would have been too big of a thing to carry out, but also like definitely like dangerous since their plan hinges on it being intact. He starts unscrewing the declaration from like its safety case to get it out to roll it up and bring with them. Um, and then an alarm starts going off because someone else's, or not an alarm, Riley's video feed gets broken because Ian's guys are in the video now. And he realizes he has to run. So he picks up the whole big case, and Ian opens the door right as he's waiting for the elevator, which is taking forever, even though it's 4 stories and no one else is using it. It's the middle of like what? Like that was I was like, this is for tension purposes. This is fine. But uh Shaw immediately sees Nick Cage and decides he didn't get to kill him in the boat and he wants to kill him right now. So he fires 4 shots into the thing again, which the plan hinges on. You need the declaration.
But they did go
Um,
over in the information about the security is that it is behind bulletproof glass, so it's
yes,
fine.
which saves Nick Cage's life. He gets onto the elevator.
But there is also so much other body to shoot at, not being like his knees, his ankles.
It is yes. He is saved by the Captain America principle, which is that
Yeah.
you always aim for the torso, and it's just kind of a habit. And so you could shoot him in the legs. That's not covered. He's not carrying like, a big mannequin. It's just covering most of him. So
I was also thinking it's a very fast closing elevator. Like he didn't have to like
remarkable.
hammer the like close button to get it to like shut, which is like a classic action movie thing.
In a slightly funnier movie, he would have gotten in and the elevator doors would have been, like open for a second because that's how elevators work. And people would have been like, oh, the elevator's open, and started running down the hall. And he would have been pressing the door close button that does nothing.
A
But
funnier movie would have music in the elevator.
yes, yeah, this movie plays for having funny scenes. A lot of the scenes, I guess we're used to that in more modern movies now, is that like action and comedy are for, yeah. While, while he's loudly drilling open the case for the Declaration of Independence. Um, so he exits through the gift shop, which is weird in my head geographically. The setup.
Also, wink for another movie.
he he gets out. He's in the gift
but
shop.
but he's foiled by the store clerk, the hero of the entire story.
Yes, without this interaction, the movie does come to a halt.
It comes to a halt. The FBI would be completely incapable of figuring out who this man is.
Yes, they he goes to try to get out, and this clerk is like, "Hey, you need to pay for that," or like what she specifically says is, "Are you trying to steal that?" And he panics, but then realizes he thinks she's talking about the souvenir declarations that they
Which
sell.
are in a container directly next to where he is currently standing.
So a very similar plastic sleeve, and he goes, "Oh yeah, sorry," and he goes to buy it.
He's also holding it under his jacket. So, like, of course, people are going to assume that you're stealing it. You are
Yeah,
holding it under your suit jacket.
yeah, he's acting very, very inconspicuous. He struggles with not having enough money to pay, so he has to use a credit card, which is a plot point that'll come up. Um, but it does set up a great moment shortly after. Abigail suddenly is like, "Why is that guy here? Why did he look me in the eye and give me a speech about treason?" And so she goes to like the party planner, like door person, and is like, "Hey, do you have the name Paul Brown on the list, and they're like, nope, he's not supposed to be here. And then she remembers why he talked with her earlier, goes to chase after him. He runs out of the building. She runs after him. They get all the way to his car, and they have an argument over the declaration. And he hands something off to her and gets into the van with Riley. Right when Ian's guys finally roll out of the place into their van, which is a food truck, which is nice, cool. And so they
really, hammering home that food trucks were normal before food trucks were really, really normal.
Oh, yeah. Fruit. I mean, like we live in a city that it is a kind of a weird thing that food trucks aren't around. Like, I've only ever seen like burrito trucks in parking lots in Chicago, whereas they're such a big thing in other cities. It's kind of unusual. But like seeing that, I was like, oh yeah, they had like all kinds of stuff in DC and in New York and stuff. But they immediately think she has the real Declaration of Independence because she thinks she has the real Declaration of Independence. But Nick Cage pulled a switcheroo. And he's telling Riley, we have to go. But then he realizes that Ian's people have kidnapped Abigail. And he's like...
Yeah, he watches. Just like
he does sit and let it happen. And then decides he needs to do something once they're driving away. They have a very impressive, if low-speed car chase.
No, not loads. Cody, it's so deadly. Everything that they do, her swinging out on the door, dead. Like the way that they're cutting through traffic, dead. Like they're shooting at each other. Like the fact that a civilian was not killed in any of these circumstances is wild.
It is. It's they go through a construction site. The back of the food truck is wide open, and Abigail is like clinging to it. She's got the Declaration and she's trying to hold it. Nicolas Cage has the big sliding side door of the van open, trying to reach for her. And they manage to grab her, but Ian grabs the Declaration, but he opens it and finds out it's the fake one. And Nick Cage reveals to Abigail that he has the real one. They go to talk in a park because they realize they've been compromised. Nick Cage gets caught both on the security camera and uses his credit card in his real name to buy the fake and real Declaration of Independences.
He finally tells Abigail who he actually is, and she's like, "You from that crazy family?" I'm like, you cannot tell me that like everybody on like a regular monthly basis is just like, "Hey, let's talk about this family real quick."
How crazy do you have to be in terms of conspiracy theories to say just your last name and people are like, oh no.
And it's not even that weird of a last name.
No, it's not. It could be anyone.
Absolutely. Like Bill Gates is a human in this universe.
That's true. Yeah.
So you're just saying that the name Gates means that you're a lunatic.
So they're going over things. Nick Cage is trying to explain we had to steal the Declaration because we knew Ian would try, and we needed to protect it by stealing it from him before he could. And she goes, "Give me that," about the Declaration. And then she goes, "That's dumb." And I was like, that's exactly the right. You do not need to be more specific than that. You are exactly correct.
Abigail has the proper energy of the librarian who's in charge of protecting things.
Yes, absolutely. We do meet Harvey Keitel in this scene. He is the sort of head of, I guess, the FBI or whatever task force. They don't really give him they don't link him to a specific agency.
No, but then this is when he's like, was there a perceived threat? And the guy's like, well, a guy came into the FBI, and a guy came into Homeland Security, and a guy came into
We
the
didn't take
National
him very
Guard.
seriously.
Yeah, and we were all like, I don't know about that, dude.
Harvey Keitel is like getting everyone sprung up. He's like the main investigator in this, and he's getting everyone. They look at the video of him, they know his name, so they know where his house is, so they're gonna go back there to find him. And Nick Cage is now worried because he needs something specific from his house in order to solve the next part of the mystery. He's like, we know there's a cipher, but I know I also need these letters, the Silence Dogood letters, um, which are letters that a teenage Ben Franklin wrote pretending to be a widow
Yes.
to his brothers. This is the point in the movie where I was like, this is such like a dad oriented movie because it's tons of American Revolution facts, lots of old paper.
Yeah.
They've got
They
every
love
old
old
man
paper.
actor.
Yeah.
Every old man actor my dad likes is in this movie.
Harvey
Like,
Keitel, Jon Voight.
yeah, and I mean Chris Plummer for a hot second. It's very like
So these letters
so
are real things.
yeah.
And also, so I watched a video about like the things National Treasure got wrong. And one of the things was they said that Benjamin Franklin was 15 years old when he wrote these letters, but he actually was 16. And but the whole point of these letters were because Benjamin Franklin was mad that his brother wouldn't publish his own writing. So he decided to pretend to be a widow and like stir up controversy and like become like a thing. So then like his brother started to like not want to publish any of the Silence Dogood letters because it was his annoying little brother who was trying to take over his super cool newspaper. And it actually like drove a really big wedge between Benjamin Franklin and his brother because Benjamin Franklin was being a little like know-it-all asshole. And his brother was just like, let me have this thing.
Classic sibling rivalry. Very, very believable.
Yeah.
This is also they sort of are parked in like a field or like a little park area while they're trying to figure out what to do next. And did you notice like a big character shift in Nick Cage in this moment? He's so rude in this scene now
Yeah.
that he's kidnapped this woman. Like he's very
He like grabs her and like pulls her back and like all of this stuff. He's like, why are you being like a jerk for trying to run away? Versus like, no, it's totally valid. Like, I'm doing the wrong thing. But like, he's like, no, you're wrong. I am doing the right thing.
she's like trying to talk and he just keeps going, dude, you
Does
gotta
she
shut
ever
up, I'm
shut up?
thinking. And it's
Like,
like
he says that.
it's like, dude, you kidnapped her, or I mean, you saved her, kind of, but she's allowed to be mad for this specific thing you did. Um, so what they realize is he's got the copies of this letter. For some reason, none of these letters are available to view, at least in full, through the internet. It was a long time ago. I'm sure now, if I looked them up, I could see the whole thing
Oh,
online.
100% you could find them.
But he needs to see them. He had copies in his apartment. The only other copies he knows of are the originals that belong to his dad, to Jon Voight,
Because his dad found them in a desk.
which is nuts. It head hung in shame because he and his dad are on bad terms. He goes to his dad's house. They He knocks on the door, and Jon Voight immediately assumes that the bad news he has is that, or the trouble that he's in, is that he got this woman he's never seen before pregnant. Which
Why would he be bringing another man with him?
Yeah. Additionally, Nick Cage is like 40 something in this movie. At that stage, if you don't go to your dad like, I don't know what to do. Like, you're 40, you'll figure it out. Like, that's
You
I,
don't show up at a home of your 60 something year old father, 70 something year old father with a 28-year-old man and a 31-year-old woman.
yeah.
And
You
the first thing that is thought is you knocked her up.
it's such a crazy little moment because it's like it is very much like, well, why would Riley be there? He's here for emotional support.
Why is this other man there?
Well, I got her pregnant, but he is her boyfriend, so we're all in this together. Um, he finds out that they're treasure hunting, and he says, "Oh, he dragged all you into this," and Abigail sort of like, "Yes," and Riley goes, "I volunteer,"
Yep.
which is stupendous. Um,
And my reference from the beginning.
yeah, I appreciated that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Um, they talk about like Nick Cage is trying to convince his dad that he needs these things, um, and he doesn't have them anymore, and he's also angry and doesn't want to say where they are
He doesn't want to
because he
say where they
thinks,
are, but he also continuously does the most dad thing in the world,
yes.
which is he critiques everything that they're doing every step of the way.
So he I do need to note this one thing, but the next scene I know exactly what you're talking about. He does bring up that they found the Charlotte, to which he says, like, the dad is he's impressed. He's like, "You really?" And he goes, "Yeah, she was beautiful." And I literally in my notes wrote, "I exploded her," like,
I blew
because
her up.
I found this perfect specimen. It is gone now. But they
No
start
way you
to
will ever see that figurehead.
nope, it's gone. It is a huge ball of fire in the Arctic. They start trying to like get the info off the back of the Declaration of Independence, and Jon Voight is doing the like, you put a TV show on that your dad said he didn't want to watch, but he's now standing behind the couch and
He's like
won't sit down,
putting
and
things
he's
away in
watched.
the kitchen. He's putting the like pizza he had delivered away in the kitchen, but he's just like standing in the doorway being like,
It's like,
um,
Dad,
and
you've watched 70% of this episode of Pluribus with me. Do you just want to sit and watch the whole next one? And he's like, no,
no.
I gotta move this plate.
I don't even like this show.
But he does keep popping in, being like, you gotta use heat. You can put
I
down a
told you
solvent, but
it
you need
needs
a
heat.
reagent. Um, so they soak the back of the Declaration of Independence with lemon
Okay,
juice.
and I put this down in my notes. Why does this man have so many lemons?
I think he's a drunk.
He's got so many lemons.
He's got a bunch of Tom Collins ingredients is all that I can assume. And so he literally has like a lemon like out, and then they go, we're gonna need more lemon juice, and they go to the fridge and he has 7 lemons. They
Just
use
full
all of them.
in a bowl. It's like one of those like home tours from Vogue where you walk into the kitchen and there's just a bowl of artichokes. This man just has a bowl of lemons.
The MTV Cribs, I always got lemons on me. These are my
Yeah,
lemons,
you
my
never
lemon
know when you're
bowl.
gonna need a lemon.
For and especially for a guy who clearly like ordered pizza and was eating off of a paper plate and from a paper cup, even based on the set
Yeah.
dressing, he does have a full fridge with a lot of lemons. Like, where's the salmon to back up these lemons, Jon Voight? You don't need all this lemon juice.
You know
So
what, Cody? He's never gonna get scurvy.
that's true. Maybe he eats the lemons and that's why his face looks like that in this movie. Um, not to be too mean to a guy I don't like, but that's Jon Voight for you. Um, so they find the like sort of first clue, and it's the little Mason symbol So much of this movie is Freemason chicanery. Like
Here's another thing though. He also has multiple hair dryers.
he does, he does. They get out to they find the Freemason symbol by rubbing lemon juice, and then they sort of lean both of their faces together and do like a hot breath
Yeah,
on the
which was
corner.
so sexy. Oh my God.
These two, for people who wind up romantically interlinked at the end of this movie, have no romantic chemistry. I think every kiss they do is out of nowhere. It's so
Yeah.
bizarre. So they do have this little scene, they breathe on it, they find the Freemason symbol, and then they get out the bowl of lemons and two hair dryers, and they start finding codes. It's a cipher. It's a bunch of numbers. To which Riley, the computer expert, goes, "What are those? Like coordinates?" And I'm like,
Like
"Man,
GPS?
you got to hire a new computer expert because your code breaker doesn't know what a code is. He doesn't recognize a cipher. Like, um, so, but they find all these codes. We find out the reason he wants the letters is these codes are like a very simple like code breaking thing where it's like if you have a book and you're trying to send someone a secret message, you would get a book and you would write numbers where it's this chapter, this page, and this letter from the page. And that's why they need the letters, because they need to find all the different letters that are scattered all over. And the dad says he donated the letters to a museum, which is responsible. You
Which is
shouldn't
the
have.
right thing to do.
How long did he have them before he did that? I don't know, but he apparently, like you said, found them in like a desk at like a swap meet or something, he says, or like an antique store.
He said that he got them from a desk from the uh paper. But like why did
Yes. Yeah.
nobody look in the desk from that paper that Benjamin Franklin wrote letters to?
The movie has an unusual amount of disdain for real archaeology, where it's like somebody would have found a boat buried that shallowly. Somebody would have noticed these letters before the insane treasure hunter did. Like,
Right. But but also if Ben Gates is as like big into this like era and like figuring out like don't you think he would be on the like I don't know, the Benjamin Franklin Museum of Philadelphia's like mailing list where they'd be like, "Guess what? We've now got these letters."
yeah, maybe he's forbidden from receiving
he
based
can't
on his.
he can't get the newsletter emails.
It's like, no, they were at one because he kept writing in, and they were like, if we featured every letter you sent, no one else would be able to be in the Q&A section. Ben, you have to stop. And then he starts writing them under the name Silence Dogood, and they're like, we know it's you. That's
It's like
too obvious.
we understand the reference.
Um, so they decide they need to get out of there, and uh, they tie up Ben's dad.
To make it look like he was not part of it.
Yeah, to make the escape look convincing. And then they go to this is a largely character driven, kind of inconsequential to the plot scene. They realize they need new clothes. So they go to
Urban Outfitters. I very specifically wrote down this because they said, "Oh, my dad keeps a couple $100 bills in the like."
a copy of Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Yeah.
But like
That's not enough money for Urban Outfitters.
you're telling me you couldn't go to the Gap or
Yeah,
or a Goodwill,
or Target.
Target, like I know it's 2004, a Walmart. You're telling me Philadelphia doesn't have a Walmart?
They spent every dollar that was in that Common Sense book in order to dress at Urban Outfitters.
And he also very specifically had to say, my dad keeps a couple $100 bills in the Common Sense book because they needed to reference the fact that they needed a $100 bill a little bit later
and
on.
he spends all of them because he needs to ask for one back.
Yeah.
So he spends multiple hundreds of dollars on
Well,
Urban
because they
Outfitters
both
clothes.
bought jeans, a shirt, shoes, and a jacket.
Yes, they all complete outfit turnovers. This scene also does feature them walking out half dressed from the dressing rooms to talk to each other, and we get a gratuitous Tarantino bottom of the feet
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah, there are a couple.
That
But
I
he gets to wear socks and she doesn't because she was wearing heels before.
Yeah, I was like, it was another moment like tied with where the weird other museum employee checks out her butt, where I was like, why did that? Okay, well, there's feet out of nowhere. That's good.
Hey,
Um,
smart girls are sexy.
hmm. And so are their feet.
Yeah, no.
I don't need to say that. Um, so they are solving the riddle at the same time. Um, Riley has like waylaid um a child.
A kid who clearly is supposed to be on a field trip because he's still in like his
Yeah.
like uniform. I love this child. I'm concerned about his ability to cross the streets of Philadelphia by looking both ways before running across them. Because there are several, if you listen to the soundscape, there are several horn honkings.
He is what he is doing is Riley is giving him the ciphers piecemeal. So every time he solves a couple of the letters, he comes back, Riley gives him $1, and then he asks him to run across and get a couple more. I guess so that they don't get spotted. I don't know that this is like faster or better, but it is what they decided to do. So
It is what they decided to do, and it's just like,
this kid is diving in and out of traffic. He's writing out all of the codes for them. And before he can come back with the last four, Riley kind of solves it on his own. And it's a clue pointing to the Liberty Bell, or the makers
can I
of the
real
Liberty
quick
Bell.
shout out
Mhm.
to the YMDB Yves Benachet, who is denoted as Museum Kid.
Oh, good for him.
Good for him.
Um,
He is
he,
named.
he's a decent child actor. He did a fine enough job.
No, he is now
Um,
an adult actor.
oh, good. That's always nice to hear that that wasn't just
He's
a
a writer
one time.
director.
So he goes to get the last bit of the clue, but Riley figures it out and runs back to the Urban Outfitters, where the Urban Outfitters has a bunch of big water bottles out on. And
Aquafina water bottle.
I was like, that is lazy product placement. And then I realized it's not just that, it's also kind of lazy set dressing for an excuse to have like a prop on hand,
Yep.
because they
But like,
are
who is anybody using a water bottle as a magnifying glass ever?
there's no way that works. Not well enough to see the
Not well
detail that they
enough.
need to see.
Just
They
squint and keep looking closer and closer.
they need to look at the back of $100 bill because the clue is pointing them to Independence Hall, and that they need to be there at a certain time. And Nick Cage realizes, oh, it's probably because Freemasons hid clues all over. It's probably whatever time is on the clock on the back of the $100 bill. And they pull out he picks up a handy, weirdly placed water bottle to use as a magnifying glass, and they see the time, and they're like, we're late. It says 2:22, but it's after 2 right now, so we won't make it. And Riley gets all excited because he knows a history fact that they don't know.
And this is where I like have a moment in my own personal brain and my own personal heart. of do I mostly just relate to people who know things that not everybody knows?
is
Like,
is the
is
entire basis of having a young crush on Riley was that he had this little scene.
because I didn't have a crush on Nicolas Cage in this movie. I very much had a crush on Riley. And I think it was specifically when I remember him pausing and taking a deep breath and just being like, is this what it just feels like to be you? Of
Reveling
like
in it.
being able
Yeah.
to like know things that other people don't know. And I now, as part of my own personality, I love knowing things.
There is a unique amount of thrill involved in that, a relatable moment in that scene, to feel like Riley, where you're like, ah, yes, I could be that man too. Of course, what he knows is that daylight savings time is a more recent invention, and that the creators of these clues would not have known about it. And so, even though the clock on the back of the bill says 2:22, they need to get there by 3:22. Um, Meanwhile, the bad guys catch up with them because they waylay the little boy
Because they did a
immediately.
shopping montage.
Yes, they immediately give him $100 bill and ask him just for the last word of the clue, and they find out where they need to go by using
By
Yahoo.
typing it into Yahoo search.
Just just the word stow. I
Just the
think
word stow into
I would believe it
Yahoo search.
if they were like Stowe America, or like Stowe Philadelphia, or if they did multiple searches. No, they search Stowe, and the first thing that comes up is that Stowe was one of the makers of the Liberty Bell. Doubt.
Yes, and stow. But they did take them to the wrong location because the next place that they go to where the Liberty Bell is currently
Yes,
housed.
that's
And
right.
that's
They go
not where Gates and his posse go to.
Yeah, they go to the Century Bell, which is the current bell, the new bell that is hanging in Independence Hall. Um, and Nick Cage sees that the like steeple of the tower where the bell
Which
is
would depend
lined
on the
up.
time of year. Like
Yeah.
there are so many things that
There is very famously in Chicago, maybe not that famously, this might be something that only a few people know, but I will say famous to me. There's a
yes.
statue on the campus of the University of Chicago that looks like sort of very modern art. It's like shapes and angles and things. But on May Day, Red Army Day, the sun hits it exactly right to put a hammer and sickle on the ground as kind of a joke on a for-profit university. And so it's a pretty well-known statue. It's very interesting, but it is that exact thing. We also know from living here about, I think this is a thing in other cities too, Chicago henge, which is the time of year
Yeah.
where when the sun sets at that exact right place, it lines up like right lined up with State Street. And so, or not State Street, Madison, because that's the East West Street. And you can take beautiful pictures, and it's so crowded now because so many people know about Chicago Henge. But you get these beautiful golden hour pictures because the sun sets like right between the buildings, but it's just that day. Like it literally is not right even within the same week to try to do it. So this would not work
Nope.
unless they got it also on the day they were supposed to be there. Um,
But inside that brick is a special set of glasses.
which he calls some kind of ocular device.
Yeah. Not like Benjamin Franklin created bifocals or anything like that.
It's very it sometimes Ben Gates talks like he's a thesaurus,
That it is one of my favorite Abigail lines though, where she's like, Benjamin Franklin invented something like this. And Ben goes, I think Benjamin Franklin invented these. Like the two of them are not on a history scavenger hunt.
Yeah. It is a weird moment. Like Abigail's like almost like it's like she was out of the moment for a little bit. Like he just handed her anything and she was like, "Oh, these are something interesting about Ben Franklin." He was like, "No, these might be remember what we're doing?
Yeah.
We're on a
He
little
might have
adventure."
touched these.
I think he put them there. He dragged his bones up to the top of this
Right.
building to put this Freemason brick.
And then in Independence Hall, when they open up the Declaration of Independence to look at the back of it, um, a fun thing to notice is the fact that they're not using gloves to touch the Declaration of Independence
Nope.
anymore.
Totally foregone all. They're like, we're in too big of a hurry. We need to look at this now.
But then they all get like the heebie-jeebies at the idea that like the last time that the of Independence was in that room, it was being signed. It's like, yeah, but you're barehanding it.
Yeah, the weight of the importance of this room. Let's touch it though with our fingers. It's already got a lot of lemon juice on it. I guess at this point we're sort of
Get
past
all those
all
oils
that.
all up in there. Yeah.
This is the part of the movie where I couldn't help myself but write. Can you imagine all these clues being lost because a leader demolished a piece of classic architecture? Can you
Yeah.
imagine how weird that
Yeah,
would
can
be
you can you imagine if you just demolished a building without paying
if you just
attention to
destroyed something that's been standing for hundreds of years and you cut the
Hey, can you imagine if you were particularly capable of destroying something that was important to the women of history and what their contributions were to that country? Yeah, that'd be wild.
Yeah. Listeners, if you're in a world where all that sounds uh pessimistic, good on you. I'm glad. I
Oh
hope
God, I
that's
hope for that.
I
I
hope
hope
that's
for that.
the real truth. Um so they get one good look and then realize that they are surrounded or like that they can't get out without Ian's guys finding them. So they decide to split up, and they all have their own little action adventure separately. Nick Cage goes off through a graveyard, um, and
Very historic. Like all of the graveyards in Philadelphia are so
ancient.
historic. And he runs through this graveyard, and a man just shoots at him in broad daylight amongst civilians and like is like blasting the tops off of this like graveyard. And it's like,
Historic, ancient tombs. Like we're talking, America's not as ancient as other countries. The oldest possible tombstones in America are in this graveyard. There's no way. So he runs through, he knocks a guy out. Um, we get uh Abigail's chase. Abigail chases Chase. She is running away from Shaw specifically, and she jumps behind a meat counter, and we get our
yeah, she's
other.
going through like the city market, and the meat counter lady is great. I love her.
Yeah, she's like, unless
Shout
you
out
stay completely
to, hold
back
on, I
here.
found her name. Sharon Wilkins. Good job, Sharon
Yeah,
Wilkins.
she's a great little character, B plot character actor in this moment, and she tells her a lie, which is that it's the Shaw is her ex-husband, and she takes one look at this bald creep with this big leather jacket and his mean, constantly scowling expression. She goes, "Honey, you stay as long as you like." Um, so she gets away that way, and then Nick Cage is still running, and he gets cornered on a roof. Um, I did notice this because it struck me right in this moment. Did you catch that? For some reason, the bad guys always say the document
Mm-hmm.
instead of I wonder why that is, because they pretty much exclusively, Dr. Chase and Ben and Riley, call it the Declaration or the map. Um,
I maybe this is just me, but it's the cognitive dissonance of like trying to pretend like you're not actually doing
mm,
something.
maybe to them that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's the next step in their plan.
Well, and
Maybe it did
a
like
lot of
take
them
a
are British, so they're like, meh, who cares? It's just the document.
this thing. You gotta read this again. So they wind up in they 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 wind up in a situation. Nick Cage manages to trick uh people into taking his empty tube that doesn't have the declaration in
Okay,
it.
Cody, before he even got there, he's literally sprinting across rooftops.
Yeah.
Like the level they went through to make this into an action movie.
Oh yeah.
Like,
He does some like he does some crazy. I don't think he does any of his own stunts in this movie.
n no, you can see several times that it's not him, but like
Yeah.
the way that he's sprinting across the rooftops, I'm like, I don't know.
These are old buildings, right? Like, I know they're probably in pretty good shape. They're historical monuments, but they are
Mhm.
still old buildings. I don't like being in high places at home, let alone. So,
Right.
um, so he's
But
running
he
across
gets
the rooftops.
captured.
Yeah, he gets captured by the feds, and uh Chase loses the declaration to Ian, and Ian lets her and Riley go. He's like, we don't need them. Go ahead. Now that we've got the
I
thing, we
mean,
don't need
it's
anything else.
I'm glad it went to Ian versus getting run over by multiple vehicles.
That is true. It has a very like baby's day out number of near misses in the
Yeah.
traffic. It's like a car runs like over it, but doesn't, the wheels don't hit it. Um, so the feds are like, he just tells the whole story to Harvey Keitel, and Harvey Keitel is like, all right, so you can either just go to jail or you can help us get the Declaration of Independence back and then go to jail. And Nick Cage is kind of a Boy Scout, and he's like, well, I'm going to help, obviously, because I think the reason I did this in the first place, I guess, is to protect it. Um, and they go to New York to the USS something or other, a huge boat, the flight deck of like an
I think
aircraft carrier.
it starts with like an I or something like that. But yeah, I wrote this down. I said this is another place with an admission cost.
Absolutely. Which I guess maybe the FBI helped him get in this time. Like now that he's out of his usual hoving range of
Yeah, but
traditional
I'm just saying
tourist spots.
that this adventure is a field trip, and all of these places cost money.
Is a field trip featuring children on field trips. There are boy and Cub Scouts at this
Yes.
event.
Yeah, they say something unless he's a child with a neckerchief, he's gonna get questioned right away. I do believe this is on the boat that is something that they say.
Yes. Yeah. He passes like 30 Boy Scouts, and he's like, your FBI agents are going to stick out unless they're little
A
boys in
boy with a
scarves.
neckerchief. Yeah. But okay, but all throughout this movie, they talk
Yes.
about Ben Gates's qualifications, and they mentioned that he was like a Marine who did like diving service or something. When he
Yeah.
is trying to get the $100 bill, he's like, and you can borrow this diving watch. It's actually very
Yeah.
expensive. And this is where the moment of Chekhov's diving
This is,
gun comes into play.
everything when Harvey Keitel is like getting the loadout about, because they obviously know exactly who they're looking for as soon as they see the video footage. When he's getting the loadout of his like qualifications, and they're like, he has a degree in American history, yes, and archaeology, of course. and he was an
Something
ROTC, and
engineering from MIT or like whatever. And then
yes,
he
and it's
does,
like
yeah, ROTC and
he's a he's a Navy diver, which is crazy. But he gets on this boat. Ian causes a big distraction with a helicopter, so to try to get him away, and he jumps into the Hudson River like pencil dives from 50 feet up.
he's like,
And
sorry, I found an option C
found
or whatever it
found
was.
found door number 3. There
Yeah,
is
door
also
number
in this
three.
scene there is also in this scene where like Harvey Keitel is like trying to like hail him. I don't know, because this movie is from 2004, it made me think of this, where he's like trying to hail him, and he goes, Ben, are you with me? And Ben like scoffs and goes, well, I'm certainly not against you. And kids of the era will remember George W. Bush in a speech saying you're either with us or against us, and talking about how certain countries were in an axis of evil.
Yeah, right.
And
And to be
I
in New
heard that
York
joke,
City during that discussion.
and I was like, heard this go by, and I was suddenly like very nostalgic for when a stupid president could only be so harmful, apparently. And I was like, oh, that was better, maybe. Not good, but still better. Um, I did write I could never make that jump because it's too high. I'm terrified of heights. I will say that again. No way. Um, he jumps in, and Ian of course has a crazy high tech like scuba thing, like a scuba like motor like torpedo to drag him along. They they go they go to their hideout. They're all like merging again together again. Riley and Dr. Chase are in an internet cafe tracking him with the GPS in his phone, and they're like converging. And this is where we get into our big tomb raid here. They uh Nick Cage doesn't want to help, but Ian has the timeline doesn't make sense, but somehow found the time to kidnap Jon Voight.
Yeah, after somewhere in between Jon Voight being questioned by the FBI and where we are now, Ian managed to kidnap him.
Which doesn't like, I don't know if this tracks like that moment where he like Ian is like trying to coerce him into cooperating, and he opens the door and you see Jon Voight, and Nick Cage is like, oh dad, oh no, I that like I don't that is very like Kronk pulling the map down in Emperor's New Groove, where I'm like, I don't know, one, if the FBI had him for questioning, they're not letting him go until
No.
they have, no, there's no way. So he's in FBI custody. So there's that. But on top of that, all of Ian's men are chasing Nick Cage and Riley and Abigail through.
But you're also telling me that Nick Cage's character is not saying, "Hey, there's this other guy," and they're not looking into him?
Yeah, like no one has been, they give us a tiny little morsel where they're like, I guess Ian Howe is a fake name. And it's like, okay, well he's like extremely rich. Do you have a lead? Do you have something?
Anything?
He exploded a bunch of vents in the National Archive yesterday. Do you have like a like you just keep chasing me, hoping that you get us both because we're in the same place? So they decide that they all got to get in this together. They go to Trinity Church. They 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 open up the map again. They use the special
No
glasses
gloves.
to no gloves. Way past that. They also continue carrying with them through the rest of this adventure, which is insane to me.
I know they go into the tomb with it.
Yeah, they
Just
find a name.
leave it outside.
They find a name. They go to the basement under the church.
Okay, but also they didn't know it was a name, but like honestly, of all of the clues and the riddles,
Yeah.
this one is like, I don't know, we're tired. We give up.
Yeah, this one's pretty like it's just there was something else
It
also.
literally just says beneath Parkington Lane. And Parkington
Yeah.
Lane is a person.
Parkington Lane is a Freemason, according to the movie. He also is that is some Puritan ass 1600s name. That is like, and this is my daughter Temperance, and this is my son Good Neighbor. Like,
And this is Jedediah.
yep. So they break into this man's tomb. Um, they go in. They crawl through a scary tunnel. There are real torches on the wall. They're still lightable, which is nuts. That's always fun.
I know, I wrote down that torch caught fast.
Yeah, like
That's wild how quickly
if,
they caught fire. They've been down there for like 200 years.
if a torch catches that fast, someone's been maintaining it.
Right.
So who's
Also,
down here?
like they do reference the fact that the subway is like nearby. The fact that anything has not been dug up for like
It's truly like, again, it's a movie that is slightly disrespectful to real archaeologists in the way that a lot of these like treasure hunting adventure movies are. Like, no, they would have found that.
you absolutely would have found that. You don't think people in like who study and care about like the revolutionary era of the United States were like, we should probably check out Trinity Church.
Or like on the flip side of that, they should have found, in addition to the other like bodies and artifacts, the body of like one New York City municipal worker. Like, because they're talking about how it's like, oh, it's like 5 or 4 stories down. That's not that deep.
That's not that deep. And especially, and this jumping to the end, especially because the emergency chamber literally comes out and
Just
exits one of the
yeah.
tombs.
I literally
It's like
just had
three
this
tombs
thought.
over.
I just had that thought now, which is that they break into a tomb that leads to like, again, not to jump too far ahead of the
More
movie.
riddles and like more things.
So they break into the one tomb, and that's where the like there's a big spiral staircase, and there's stairs, and it's like really treacherous. And then there's a fake room where there isn't actually any stuff in it, and then there's a second additional fake treasure room where there is like some treasure, but it looks like it's already been raided. And then they spoiler find the treasure, but the emergency exit is like to the next grave over. So if they had like, it's one of those things where it sort of stretches plausibility, where it's like if a subway worker had been digging a tunnel, or if one person had, maybe we should make sure these graves aren't infested with rats, and taken the thing off, they would have found a tunnel 100 years ago and not that very day. uh so but that gets a little bit ahead of, after they defile the grave, and after they run into the tunnel, and they're walking around with the torches, they're coming up to like this big chamber.
But also all of the chambers and all of the things that they are like using to like maneuver through this area are all made of wood. So the
Yes.
chandeliers are made of wood. The stairs
Uh-huh.
are made of wood. The
Uh-huh.
elevators are made of wood. It's just like everything
None of
is
this
wood
would have
based.
survived. There's no, even Jon Voight says that 200 years of rot and termite damage, and he is right. There's no way any of this would have stood. Nick Cage does pause for a moment to share just an awkward, poorly timed, not telegraphed by the rest of the story kiss uh with Dr. Chase. I don't know. That moment, I knew watching the movie from remembering it that they became like a romantic item through the course of the movie. I did not remember it feeling that uh unplanned.
Yeah, it was referenced early that there should be something between them. Um, I actually had a bigger issue with the kiss that's later on in it, but in general, not great.
Yeah.
I wasn't
They
feeling, ooh, yay, they're finally together.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah. They start heading down these stairs, and they take some creaky, uncomfortable steps when one big section of this staircase uh falls out entirely, and Shaw falls to his grim green screened death, um down to uh nothing.
Yeah.
Did that It's very like if it had
It's
been
like,
like
where does
water,
the rest of the tunnel go? How deep does this tunnel go?
right? Because when they do finally, they have a little action sequence where they almost drop the Declaration of Independence. Why do they still have it? Leave it in the lobby of the church. It's crazy. Um, they almost lose that. They almost fall a couple times, and then they wind up, rallying and getting on an elevator to get to the next like door. But that's not all the way down. There's like a pit in the center of this staircase, and it goes till it's black dark, like, and Shaw does not like hit the ground somewhere. He just
Right.
falls and is gone.
Cody, how deep is New York?
I think I know
The
this. It's
entirety of
not
New
that
York,
deep.
how deep is it?
It's a swamp. It's not deep.
It's not. It's going to be filled up with water.
The creation of this structure is an affront to the geology of New York in the first place. But he could only have fallen so far before he hits water, but it is like it's like an abyss. It goes
Yeah.
all the way. He
It's
came
like
out on the
Journey
other
to the
side of the
Center of the
planet.
Earth. Goodbye, Shaw.
um, they get to the room. There's just a lantern and some walls, and Nick Cage has like a little crash out where he's like, "This is the end of the line. There is no treasure. There never was."
Okay. Is it a crash out or is it him trying to act?
I think it is him finally trying. There's references that he's terrible at lying.
Yes, there's multiple references of him being terrible at lying, but then this is like his like, okay, I've got to do it. So I believe this is one of the biggest moments of Nick Cage acting to act.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is him doing some real acting. He gets a little backup from Jon Voight, who is
Yep.
now that they're this far is actually excited about the adventure, and they convince Ian that he has to go to Boston. Um, Ian takes the elevator with him and
One if
abandons
by
him,
land, two if by sea.
and they say by land, one lantern, which of course is not what happened. It was
Not true. And if Ian were not British, maybe he would know.
he would have learned that in school, maybe if he was American. So they do some investigating. They find a button. They walk through the door and they find the the treasure room, but it looks like it's already been picked over and somebody already found it. And they have a heartfelt conversation where his dad tells him that he found the proof that it's real and that's what's really important. And then Riley's like, but there's got to be a way out of here. And then they pull out the pipe because there's a little emblem on the wall that's shaped so exactly like that
So
pipe.
specifically, like the pipe.
So this is where J.J. Abrams got the idea for the magic Sith dagger that still has the shape of the Death Star in it, where it's like, if one notch of this goes wrong, none of this works anymore. Like,
Yeah.
that's how close it is. It has to be that exact. He unlocks this door and they find the titular national treasure.
And
It's
and
a
my note
comically
specifically says manifest destiny colon the treasure.
exactly. There is not a stitch of fabric or scrap of gold in this room that is not stolen from a
Stolen,
country
flat out
from the
stolen.
global
And then
east.
he goes straight to a giant puddle of oil and is like, I'm gonna alight this.
I'm just gonna see what happens if I do this. It fortunately is just like an elaborate lighting system, but it would have been funny if it immediately
It
exploded
just
the whole room.
detonated the whole thing.
But yeah, the whole room is spoils of war stolen from the global
Yeah.
east. Like, they literally make no effort to be like, and here's some Greek stuff. No, it's Egyptian.
It's a
It's
joke.
it's Egyptian. It's Middle Eastern. It's all treasure stolen from the Crusades. It's
Yep.
crazy to say that it's a treasure from all over the world, and that when they find it, it's like, oh, you mean just stuff white people stole.
Yep.
um we sort of start to spiral into the wrap up here. Harvey Keitel tracks them down. We find out he's a Freemason, so he's got a
He's
little
been a
sympathy.
Mason the whole time.
Yes, he's got a Mason's ring on. um they they set up a sting for Ian because Nick Cage knows where he's going to be because he led him to the wrong place.
To the
Can I
North Church.
say can I say this sting should not have worked? The
No.
only reason it works is because his plan is so bad compared
His his
to his
plan is so bad and so poorly thought out compared to all of the other things that he did. But also the fact that Nick Cage went along after all of this just so you could be like, nah, 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 nah,
he's
from like,
hiding behind a pillar so that he can jump out right when Ian gets arrested to show that he got him. Very ridiculously silly. Um, and then we see them, Riley and Abigail and Nick Cage and Ben are all having this conversation outside on a big lawn. They're talking about how you know Ben bought this big historical house, and Riley's all salty about how they should have taken a bigger finder's fee from the
of
treasure.
10% versus a 1%.
Can I say they quote the amount of this treasure, right, as like $10 billion?
Something like that, yeah.
I would have taken 1/4%. Are you one? Riley is grousing over 1%, even split 3 ways.
He got half of
Fine.
a 1%, yeah.
Yeah, that's maddening. An insane amount of money.
Yeah,
I
but you have a desire to not be a billionaire, and I don't know if Riley has that.
Yeah, Riley. If Riley had been on this adventure alone, no one would ever have found out he found the treasure because he would have kept it. Um,
No, he would have sold it. But um,
yeah,
what my favorite moment though is there is actually a throwback to why Ben Gates chose this mansion that he chose. You know,
yes,
you could have gotten a bigger house, but the reason why he picked it was because at something to do with Charles Carroll,
yeah. He
which is
starts to tell a story, and
but
and
he
Riley's like,
references Charles Carroll again, which is the entire reason that his family knows anything about any of this.
yep.
So it's all
So
cyclical.
then, uh, they share. Riley drives off in his car. He shares another
Fancy
awkward
car.
moment with uh
Not knowing how to
Abigail.
drive in grass.
Yeah, Riley. Yeah, Riley does not peel off coolly. He kind of stutters away because it's a new car. He doesn't know how to drive. Um, and then Abigail gives Ben a map.
Okay, but right before this, um, Riley says something like, "Why do you care? You got the girl." And he says something like, "I did, didn't I?" And then it's like a really awkward
Ugh.
kiss. And I hate that kiss. That kiss is awful.
That like the moments that they use to establish that there are like supposed sparks flying between the two of them in order are they're like flirty when they first meet because he's like knowledgeable about history, but then she finds out he's a weird conspiracy theorist. Then they have like a tense, very like real arguments about the safety of the Declaration of Independence. And then they
See, I like
awkward
the arguments. The arguments are
the art
solid.
they have a conversation in Urban Outfitters. And then we literally go from that to he kisses her in the tunnel. It's very like they
Mhm.
just don't meet in the middle really at all in this.
Nope. And then it is they own a house together in Massachusetts or wherever, Maryland.
Yeah. She's like, here's a map. And he's like, what's it to? And she runs away. And it's like, you didn't need to say that. That could
Ugh.
be the movie.
I don't want to know what it's to.
It's too I'm not gonna say. That's the movie. Credits. Credits, no post credits scene. We know there's a sequel, but they didn't tease anything for the movie. I I did enjoy the watch so much. I did come up with a theory. Do you think that the National Treasure is an analogy or a metaphor for the
The
wealth
friends we
that
made
is
along all the way.
no, follow me here. It is a metaphor for the wealth that is trapped in the upper class in America.
Oh.
So Ian is our capitalist. He sees the wealth as something he can have for himself, and he wants to get it by means that are shady. He's willing to steal. He's willing to wheel and deal. He's willing to hire a ton of people because he already has money, and he wants to use that money to get access to more money. He wants to buy his way into this wealth. Whereas Nick Cage, our Ben Gates, is an American dreamer. He's a real he's a real like person who believes that the American dream still exists and that all this world history, one of the things he says to do to Harvey Keitel is these items should be given back to the places they're from. So for all this being colonial treasure, stuff stolen from the global east and the third world, he wants it to be housed in their homes, in museums where they're actually from, which is an incredible stance to have in 2004. But he also wants the like money from it to go back into the system. He's like, use it for like stuff that taxes would be used for. The wealth from the national treasure is literally the wealth that exists in America now, currently. It is hidden in America, and it's behind a bunch of old fashioned rules and old things from the era of the founding fathers. And if we find it, take it away from the people who are hoarding it, it can be put back into the system to actually do something useful. Now, obviously, $10 billion in the grand scheme of our budget is not that much, but it's a metaphor. So he's liberating this like this wealth that is being hoarded and turning it into something that can actually help the world and help America. What do you think? Am I too much of a leftist for that for this movie?
No. I mean, I don't hate it. Um, I like the general idea of hoping that a main character would make those choices and do those things.
Yeah.
Where I struggle is that this is a movie created by a giant media corporation
True.
who
This is a Disney film. They would be they would ultimately be the target of said wealth
And
redistribution.
I say that with all the love in my heart.
I yes, it's a complicated relationship. I'm a movie person. Any movie company to be like, I like that movie company. I like the movies. I know that most movies are made by people that do not care about art. They want to make a movie, and the movie is to make money, and then the money is to create a, a greed machine. Um, I don't know. Just it was a thought while I was walking around my apartment today where I was like, that's the real national treasure. The
I
real
mean,
national treasure is the wealth that already lives here, that lives in this country that's supposed to be so cool.
yeah, I mean, I think I could definitely see that.
Is that what the TV series on Disney Plus was about? Was all
I
those
never,
teen
I
national
don't
treasure
know. I didn't
hunters?
watch it.
Maybe I should watch it. And maybe that's what it's about. It's like a teen version of the movie How to Blow Up a Pipeline. Maybe that's what it is. Probably not.
Okay.
Anyway,
I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I think that National Treasure follows in the footsteps of like Indiana Jones, where it
yeah,
is a little bit of a like this information, these artifacts belong to the people. Um,
yeah,
where I
absolutely.
feel like we are continuously uh running into a barrier is the constant white male savior narrative.
Absolutely. This is as someone who I have some history in my family dating back to uh ancestors linked to the Masons. So I have heard like Mason stories and Knights Templar stories before, and it is all very like the whole idea of the Knights Templar were that they were a special order of Christians
We're
that
so
that went
special.
that went to the Middle East to murder people. Like that's
Hmm.
there's a nicer way to tell that story, but that is what happened, and that's what the Knights Templar were. And like this whole like all the myth and stuff of like, oh, they were created to protect this humongous treasure, or they were created to protect the Holy Grail, or they were created to protect some humongous secret. That's all great, and it's legends, and it's very interesting. The truth is, the Knights Templar were an order of knights that were at the Crusades, and the reason the Crusades happened was to murder people that weren't Christian in a fight over some land that had a lot of valuable stuff in it.
Yep.
That's the sort of sad short version of it. So yeah, that the problem with I think that narrative is that maybe, and this is a sad thing to say in a podcast like this one, maybe someone other than Nick Cage filling that role makes my version of the story feel a little more plausible. But um, uh, lest we dally too long in my fan fiction version of this.
My okay, if we're gonna give into your like fan fiction option of this, can I give you my general takeaway that I think I took away in 2004 and I think I still take away today. And I don't
Yes.
know if this is just me being hopeful for me myself as a nerd and a fun fact girly, but my general thought of the entire purpose of a lot of this is that knowing things can be a superpower. Like
Yeah.
you can't like say that information and being aware of facts and being aware of the world and being aware of history is a detriment to you. And
Absolutely.
so that's where I walk away from this of just being like, people should know things. People should be aware of things. That like history should not be hidden or clouded by whoever the narrative, protects.
Hmm.
Like, the more we know, the more information we have, period, end of sentence. And so that's what I got out of National Treasure, is that more people should know all of the things.
I think that's a powerful read as well, and I appreciate that. That I think, and that probably is more likely in like the log lines of the manuscript than my theory. So, I will say we got to the end of the movie. As you know, I always get these on DVDs. There were special features on the DVD as well. I had um what I would describe as a frustrating time with the DVD special features
Oh, oh.
because the conceit of the special features was that in order to see all the special features, you needed to watch some of them in order to get the pieces of a code. And then you could use the code to unlock the rest of them. And then once you'd watched all of them, there was an additional special code that unlocked like just a more convenient menu. And like, I am not kidding when I sat down and I was like, if I wind up watching all of these and the thing that I get is the special features menu and they're just all in one place. And that is exactly what it was. So if you get the specific edition, I guess, that I got from the Chicago Public Library, be prepared for like opening the special features and being like, I don't think that's everything. It's not. It's half of them. You have to watch them and then you get parts of a word and then you have to do the to do the anagram puzzle that it shows you the anagram screen with the password and it's way easier than the one they got. I was like I was like this is a
Okay,
huge
but
waste of my
Cody,
time.
do you feel a little good about solving the riddles?
No, cuz they were too easy. I guess if I had been
Aw,
11
man.
they would have been. Yeah, right. If I had been younger or they had been less tedious to operate with like a DVD player remote, I think it would have been more fun. Um the only notable special features are there is an alternate ending that was filmed where they are back in the like, cupola where the like historic documents are and Nick Cage is like looking at the Constitution and Abigail has to be like there's nothing on the back of the Constitution. And I guess the according to the director he said that they got rid of that because it seemed too much like a sequel sting and
Oh
they weren't
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
100%.
Like um there is a location documentary on it, which was kind of interesting because they shot a lot on location to get all like the real like they shot in the Library of
Yeah.
Congress. They had all the monuments and stuff. You know, they did all that. Where I learned that the director of photography for this movie is Zoe Deschanel's dad.
I saw his name and I was like, I'm pretty sure Claude Deschanel is Zoe Deschanel and Emily
I was
Deschanel's
like,
dad.
ain't no way there's just a guy named Deschanel. So I did
Yeah.
look. I saw him and I was like, that's got to be it. Um, and then there was a puzzle game where Riley talks to you very condescendingly while you match up hieroglyphs to letter sounds, which is not how hieroglyphs work. Um,
No, they
and
literally
also
mean words.
there's no Egyptian in this movie. Like very weird.
Well, there are
That
mummies in the treasure room, and
yeah, that's
Riley
kind of it.
specifically is like large bluish greenish man with weird
he
goatee.
he does hug an Osiris statue. That's right.
Yeah.
Um, so and then one thing that I was like is lost media that I was sort of bemoaning that I probably will never be able to find. There is apparently from 2004, so imagine the kind of phone you'd be doing this on, a National Treasure 2D side scroller mobile game from Verizon. It's like a game you
Wow.
would have played on like a Razor. Like
Yeah.
and I was like, I couldn't find anything about it, no pictures. So maybe I didn't
Man.
look hard enough because it was getting late, but I was like, oh, how weird that is. uh, so so yeah, special features wise, nothing too special. That alternate ending is hilarious though, because I was like, how funny would it be if they just immediately turned around and stole the Constitution? Like, same building, same heist, same method. Ian's
And
not
just
dead; he's just in
crossing out the
jail.
Second Amendment and
Yeah,
rewriting it.
yeah, that's they're not there to steal anything additional. They're not looking for more treasure. They're just there to make some red line notes on the
Yeah,
Constitution.
just right to bear arms, dot dot
Let's
dot.
let's at least make that more specific, and then we'll take
Not
away.
if arms become incredibly dangerous towards human beings.
We'll change the 13th Amendment so that it doesn't have an exception for prisoners.
Right.
That's good. We'll get that fixed so that it's always illegal to have slaves. That one feels like a layup.
Yeah.
Um,
Ugh.
yeah, but that was National Treasure. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching it. I am still, as I said, shocked how low on the list it is, that it's below medium.
I as far as like Nicolas Cage movies go, I really just feel like anything that could be considered like aimed towards kids, critics rate way lower than they should.
Yeah, I think that maybe some critics would walk
Because
into a
because
Nick Cage
this is a
movie.
great movie for history teachers to just throw on when they have a hangover.
Yeah, there's not any swearing in it. There's gunshots, but no one gets hit.
Yep.
There's there's a little blood at the beginning, but it's to solve a riddle. Like, it's not,
He did it to himself. Why
yeah.
his the pad of his thumb? Who knows?
100 other solutions he could have had to that. But I can wrap up by going through my usual ending here, to ask, of course, it was wonderful having you. If you do want to return at some point in the future, is there another Nicolas Cage movie you would like to be a part of?
Well, to make a previous reference, I think I'm the only of your friends who would be willing to watch Sorcerer's Apprentice with you.
It's possible. Yeah.
um, and I mean, for my love of Riley, I feel like I have to put in National Treasure too.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I know National Treasure 2 and Sorcerer's Apprentice are also both on the downswing. So,
Which
um,
blows my mind.
I mean, I have not seen Sorcerer's Apprentice. I have only heard the lore. That doesn't surprise me that much that one's low. But
Cody, I have seen pretty much every single movie that Disney has ever put out. I have also never seen Sorcerer's Apprentice.
well, that would be fun for both of us then. We should
Hey,
absolutely do that for sure. Um, and then I will also ask, as we're wrapping up, is there anything you would like to plug, like a personal creative project or just a thing you think other people should see or be a part of, whatever you feel like?
I just want to say, today is Giving Tuesday. So there are a lot of teachers and other people who have put out like lists on this day to like go and support, but it's not just on one Tuesday in December after Thanksgiving that public school teachers and people in public education need things. We need support on a regular basis. We need support emotionally. We need support monetarily. We need support through your votes. At this time that public education and public media and, the education of the American public are under attack, do everything that you can to make sure that we all stay educated, we stay informed, and that we can all eventually solve a series of crypto riddles to eventually lead us to some sort of American-based historical treasure. So support public education.
Could not have said it better myself. And it is Giving Tuesday, and it is obviously it will be passed by the time this episode is actually posted. But yes, give give to the big orgs that are trying to make big shifts, but give small too. You know somebody in your life, I promise, that if you said, hey, that job you do, would it help if you had $50 for it? They would say yes. Or if they had $5 for it, they would say yes. Or if you bought them pens or crayons or something, they would say yes. It is absolutely worthwhile. We can do a lot through supporting NGOs and NPOs, but we can do a lot through mutual aid too. So rock and roll. That's the way to do it. That will bring us to the end of our show, though. So be sure to look me up and follow the program on all the relevant social media platforms. I am on Instagram. I am on YouTube, and I am on TikTok as Caged Men Pod. And if you've got questions, or if you want to know how soon an episode is coming up, or if you just need to send me something you think is vitally important to my hunt for the national treasure, you can email me at cagedmenpod@gmail.com. And we appreciate the support. We are happy to have lots of listeners. Thank you again to Alyssa, and I will leave you with this. Oh, my personal favorite, had their entrails cut out and burned.
Very direct eye contact.
Very.